export. It's local, and you can supply the local economy. You don't have to bring in unique varieties from across the world. We can grow them here. And the health aspect of the greenhouses. Going in there in the winter and picking fresh tomatoes, there's a mental health aspect to it. There's a physical health aspect to it of what you're eating, and you know where it came from. It's close by. But yeah, it's a different world to walk in there in the winter, and it's warm, and there's fresh produce. So that was just the other day. Not something we eat regularly, but hibiscus can be used as something to eat, as a tea. And that plant has been flowering with 5 flowers, 6 flowers daily for the last many weeks. It's been pretty awesome to walk in there and see that. We've got a passion flower on the left, and those are habaneros in the center. That's our kale plant on the right. He's quite big and sort of snaky. He's came down over the wall and back up again, but he's been growing for well over a year. It's February 1st, a picture of the snow. The design of the greenhouse, the snow does slide off the roof, and you have to shovel a little bit on the bottom just to remove it. You want the snow off the roof for the sunlight to come in as well. And then that's a February 8th harvest. We've got some, down the very bottom, there's some stems of some kale. We've got beets on the left, and Swiss chard on the right, at the back, and then tomatoes that were picked in February. We were seeding carrots in early February as well, and just right next to it, you can see the yellow flowers there. Those are Gerber daisies, and they have produced year-round for us. There's usually always a daisy growing. And then on the right, not sure if you can see it, but there's beets, and then kale, and then some arugula, wasabi arugula farther in there, but it might be too hard to see. Thank you. We do tours in person or via video if you're not from the area, and there's our info and phone number. Thanks. Questions?
I have 2 questions. The first one's about avocados, and then the second one, do you ever find that it gets too hot for some plants in the summer, and how do you deal with that?
So the question about the avocados is
it possible?
We have one avocado tree in there that somebody gave us, started from seed.
Yeah.
My understanding is avocado from seed, you have a very small chance of getting an edible avocado off it ever. It's better to buy a grafted one, and then it is possible. They're a long-term project.
I think they're pretty tall too, so
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, they're a good size. I know some people that have them in year-round greenhouse at the coast, and they keep it pruned, and they have had success. So, yeah. And as far as the
heat in the summer.
heat in the summer, so we have shade cloth on the greenhouse, 50% shade cloth, and then we have blowers in the end wall. So basically, we keep it at ambient air temperature in the summer. So it's similar to outside. Without the shade cloth, it gets unbearable. Yeah, you need the shade cloth in there.
Right.
So we haven't had any trouble with any plants that haven't wanted to grow from the heat. Yeah. Go ahead.
Is there any kind of funding that can be available through any kind of agency to help, like even a municipality, for instance, to have some of these?
Right now, I haven't checked into current funding because it's always changing. We have had some customer up at the Caribou 2 years ago. They got successful funding through, I believe, the BC government. Some out in Quebec have been successful as well. It's a long process, and I'm not sure what's currently available. I think there was a large chunk of money released this June, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of, building greenhouses up, the inefficiency of that potentially with just how much electricity it uses to keep the temperatures regulated,
Mhm.
you think we'd want to move towards something like this?
For sure, yeah. Just the design itself is very efficient. We had a customer just north of Calgary they had theirs installed last year. They didn't get the heating system installed for the winter. So they just sat all winter just with the passive solar. And the coldest they registered was -8 in the greenhouse. So they would have been down to -35, 40 outside.
Yeah.
So it's a very efficient system.
Do you sell the components separately, like the actual geothermal aspect, or is it the whole thing?
So the kit that we sell, it is steel framing and the polycarbonate to the south side.
Okay.
And the rest of the kit, we send a list out and you get that locally from your hardware store,
I see.
wherever you are, because we ship right across Canada. Yeah.
Where are you located?
We're in Armstrong and we manufacture the kits in Burnaby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the cost for?
A 60 foot, so they're all 17 feet wide. That's the standard width.
Okay.
And a 60 foot long one is just under 18,000.
For the kit portion,
Yeah.
but then you buy the rest.
Yeah, and then there's the additional materials and your excavation. So it depends on how much you can do yourself or if you're hiring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you clarify the excavation? Like you mentioned that there are raised beds and something about the heat or something, but
Yeah, so there's 3 foot raised beds on each side. On the south facing wall, it's 3 feet wide of a planting bed. And then it drops down the floor and we plant right in the floor in the soil. And then it's 2 feet wide on the north wall, the raised bed at the back.
so is it dug in?
Yeah.
Then how deep do you have to?
We're 3 feet below grade, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've seen 2 different kinds of geothermal, and I'm trying to figure out which kind they're using. One pumps heat seasonally, so it takes it out of the air in the summer and pumps it under the ground, where it slow releases during the winter. And then the other one has tubes that push the air through on a daily basis and cool it or heat it using the ground. Which technology or?
Right, ours would be more like the second.
Okay.
So we're running the fan when it gets below ground temperature. So in the winter, in the daytime, when the sun's out, it can be -20 outside. It'll be over 20 degrees in the greenhouse. And then as it gets down to generally between 8 and 11 degrees, then that's when the fan kicks on and it circulates the air down and it comes out at ground temperature. Yeah.
Have you seen people hook these up to their homes so that they're sort of like right adjacent to their homes?
I haven't yet. There's been lots of people saying that they're going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be an easy extension if your aspect is the right way, just to have a doorway.
And you could use the heat
Yeah.
from your home to help.
Yeah, that's what some people have thought of doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank
And-
you.
and thanks to Shuswap Food Action and Buckler Fields
Thank
for
you.
putting this on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.